Welcome to Geektionary. My name's Corey Hales, and this is the geekiest podcast you'll probably ever hear, where I will try to teach you, along with my friends, about the nerdier things in life. Let's talk about it.
First weekend available, I'm doing that. Like, I just need to do it and not say it, you know?
Yeah, welcome to Geektionary. God damn it, I fuck it up immediately.
Are you recording?
Yeah.
Oh.
I like starting them out kind of suddenly.
Yeah.
God damn it, I can't even do the fucking thing. Anyways, this is number 2 for sequels, and with Paul, who you've heard already.
Yeah, just going on about life and excuses for being too busy.
Yeah, and I can already tell, I can just hear the shitty acoustics in the room.
Is it? So how do I need to go higher, lower?
No, it's fine.
Add a little more treble, natural treble.
Yes, natural treble.
Hi, Corey. Does that sound good?
No, that sounds terrible.
Yeah, we're gonna be peaking all for hour. Okay, well, if we're recording, I'm taking off my jacket
to reduce the ruffle.
Exactly.
You're a broadcasting guy, you know.
Yeah, I know how it is.
And
I even offered to close the door because I'm so advanced in my training.
So we both went to school for broadcasting. Are either of us working in broadcasting? No.
No.
Yeah. You did, though.
I did. I had a good stint. I had a 3.5-year run in radio.
Yeah.
And then no longer is that the case.
Yeah. You were the man in Brooks, right?
I was, yeah.
With a 5-star A&W, which is genuinely a damn good A&W.
Well, you're not giving Brooks enough credit, by the way, because we are the city of Brooks.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, not a town. We are a city.
I apologize.
They're the classic town that the second they hit the bare minimum, that I believe is 10,000 civilians, they said, oh, let's call ourselves a city so everyone thinks we're way cooler than we are.
Same thing happened in Cranbrook back in BC where I'm from, so it's so sad.
But you're there and all you can think of the whole time is, we're not a city. This is not a city. Come on, guys.
The university we went to has a population larger than my town's, so technically that's a city.
That's one of those places that in the summertime the population dives down like 70%.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to. Oh, and every time there's every graduation year, all the like young adults and teenagers just disappear for about a year and then they come back sad.
That's what I mean. They go for
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, like the population dips because everyone goes home, and then when school starts again, everyone just comes back. And
now I was talking about like Cranbrook once people graduate high school.
Oh, high school.
Yeah,
oh, okay.
Because people will try to not be there anymore because it's terrible.
Oh, yeah. That's where you grow up, and in high school every day you hear is, man, I can't wait to get out of this town.
Yeah, and then they do, and they're just like, oh, every place is mean.
And they come back.
Sad.
Yeah.
And they develop a drinking problem. And
it's the natural progression. Sequels, yeah, speaking of that.
Natural progression. Sequel from high school to sadness.
Yeah. So, I mean, the funny thing about this topic that you provided us is we didn't really talk much about it before we turned on the microphone.
No. A lot of times I don't allow that.
Okay.
It's not because I think that it shouldn't be done. It's more because I just don't. And it makes the conversation flow a little bit rough at first, which I kind of enjoy.
That's okay.
Because then it smooths out. And
Well, and you can always fall back on... Well, we didn't really exchange notes before the show, so we apologize for the below average podcast,
Oh,
guys.
I always have notes too, yes. I'm very proud. This is a good habit because this is something I actually learned from school too.
Really? Like the cue cards?
Yeah. I remember one class where... never mind, let's get down to the actual topic. This is the most meandering beginning.
Hey, do we have a time limit on this? I saw most of your podcasts run like 45 minutes on average.
Yeah,
okay.
That's about it. And how long has it been going? So we got 40 minutes.
Okay. Well, in defense to me, I didn't know that the mic was recording.
Oh, no. I'll probably cut out a bit of the beginning. So.
Okay. My heart to heart about...
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know the parts where you're getting emotional and real? Yeah, that's gone.
Just cut out the ugly cries, okay? Just edit that out.
Deal. So, sequels. Super, super common now. Like, pretty much nothing comes out without having another movie come out about a year or two later, which doesn't always... in my mind, there's too many.
Yeah, I mean, the problem with this topic that I'm struggling with right off the bat is I don't know if I'm supposed to be positive or negative. In my own mind, I don't even know how I feel about them.
Yeah, and that's totally fine, because it's this whole sort of pre-season thing, the 1 to 10 is kind of a bit more... it's harder because it's not like B for Buffy the Vampire Slayer or something like that. It's most of these are a bit more open. Like the first one was about the concept of the one in fiction, because how else are you going to use one? You know. So that we talked about. Me and my guest talked about a number of chosen one characters like Neo and Ash and Ash. Both Ashes, one from Pokemon, one from Evil Dead, like all sorts of stuff. And so this is being a bit more open. It's a bit more fluid in a way.
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends on what we're gonna focus in on at first. Anyways, for me, like where I'm really gonna bash sequels is comedies. I think right off the bat. I would be. It would take me a good 45 minutes, the whole podcast here, to think of like a successful. Well, I think I can think of one, and I'm gonna throw it right off the bat. I'm gonna throw out. Well, no, you're joking, right?
Very much.
Thank God. Thank God. It's like, I haven't seen you for a while, but your show preference could have changed. But no, man, you know what? When it comes to comedy sequels, the one that jumps out that was really funny to me was the 22 Jump Street one.
That was a weirdly good comedy sequel because, like you say, most comedy sequels are just the same joke from before, but like, haha, let's put it into a slightly different situation.
And that right there is kind of the issue with comedy sequels, because you know when they make those movies, like, you know, an Anchorman or a Dumb and Dumber, you know, it's 20 some odd years ago, they make those thinking, you know, they're writing a one-off movie. And then if it's successful, you know, commercially successful and in the box office, then they're going to shoehorn another one out there. And that's where you run into problems. They used all of their good jokes relating to that theme in the first movie. And then they say, oh, well, that one sold a lot of tickets and we like money because that's the world we live in. So let's make another one, even though we have no good jokes left.
And I kind of liked Anchorman too, but then, like, I saw it in theaters and enjoyed it, and I see it later, and I couldn't finish it. Because it was just so much of the same shit.
Yeah, you know? I will never watch Anchorman 2 again. I will watch Anchorman 1 probably a few more times by the end of my life, I hope. Because that's a great movie.
It's a very good movie.
Yeah, and it's a great background movie because I've seen it so many times. I just throw it on Netflix, go do the house chores and stuff. No, I love the first movie. The second one, I didn't hate it, but like you said, I probably am not going to...
It does not have the rewatchability. And the fact that they rehashed the fight, when I saw it the first time, I was like, this is great. When I see it the second time, I'm just like, I don't want to see the fight. Yeah, well, with all the different networks coming together, and it's just so many cameos and so much happening, and it's just kind of like, this is losing the point.
Did anyone like the sequels of the Family Guy chicken? Because I sure as hell didn't.
I did the first time it happened. I'm just like, it's happening again, and then it happened again, and I'm just like, it's happening again.
Yeah, because the first time it's kind of nostalgic on the first time that they fought, and then the first sequel fight. Yeah. But then after that, it's. All right, guys, these fights last way too long for the fact that we've seen 2 of them already.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, as far as comedies go, 22 Jump Street was great. One that I really wished I could have watched before we started recording here was Zoolander, because I loved Zoolander 1, and I imagine the second one is horrendous. And I was going to go see it in theaters, didn't get around to it, so I'll rent it, but haven't seen it yet. Have you caught that one?
I have not. I was never a big fan of the first Zoolander.
That's a polarizing movie.
There were moments that are fucking amazing, filled, in my opinion, filled with a lot of filler.
Oh, we can swear on this podcast?
Oh, yeah.
Thank God, I should have asked that beforehand.
Gosh
darn it, Corey.
Gosh damn it. That's one of my favorites. Because it's fucking stupid.
So I want to see Zoolander 2. I know it's going to be bad, but anytime I like the original, I almost feel like I should go see the sequel.
Almost like, well, I've put in the work, I should continue. And
exactly.
A dumb thing, because they're making it not for that. They hope that that's the reason people see it. But ultimately, it's more just, we just need butts in the seat.
Well, if they actually planned on having sequels to a lot of these movies, I feel, and I have nothing to back this up, but I feel most movies that have planned sequels, the sequels come out right away. Because they just knew that was the direction they wanted to go in. But when you see sequels like Dumb and Dumber, like 20 some odd years later, you know they just figured, all right, guys, we need a quick cash grab this year, so let's play on some nostalgia and throw out a movie.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's most comedy sequels.
I feel actually that one of the things you mentioned reminded me. I found the shortest gap between a movie and its sequel. It was, again, a movie I've never heard of called Gangs of Wasseypur.
Whoa, is that even North American?
I don't know.
That sounds rather international.
48 days.
48 days,
yeah.
Wow.
Same year, June 22nd to August 8th, which...
So were you able to find out anything about this movie? Like, was this straight to DVD?
I did no research.
Okay.
This is the reason.
You sound like me when I read news headlines. I read the headlines on Facebook and
Make
on the
opinion.
yeah, no, just straight up the headlines. Then I go to my friend and say, "Oh, do you see that 17 people were found? Whatever."
Yeah.
But all I know is the headline, so I can't elaborate more than.
And the thing is, you always try to. I don't know about you, but I always try to cover. It's just like, oh, did you hear about the 17 people that da 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 da? Just like, yeah, what happened to them? They don't know yet. Just like nobody knows. It's a mystery.
Yeah. Okay, so 48 days.
48 days.
Wow. Okay.
Longest time. It depends. Like since it's if you go by franchise, Wizard of Oz from 1939 to Oz the Great and Powerful.
Was that a sequel or like a reboot?
That was a prequel, which is sort of
that's a sequel.
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
That's a sequel, just in a different
it's
form.
another thing put into the franchise or series. Or
yeah.
whatever, which was 73 years and 173
wow.
days. Yeah.
Wow. Not written and produced by the same people, presumably.
Probably everyone involved with Wizard of Oz is dead.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah, geez. I don't know. I mean, when it comes to sequels, do we count like Lord of the Rings 1, 2, and 3? Not really, right?
That's tough. That's because that is a series, but like you say, it's not like Lord of the Rings 1 did so well. Here's a sequel. It's just a continuation of one story that happens to be 3 books or 3 movies.
We made 3 books, so we're making 3 movies. And that's why, whether that's considered a sequel or not, I guess as far as the direct term, probably, because there's a second and a third, in which case, those are the sequels that I find are awesome. You know, like pre-planned sequels.
The Hobbit is kind of like that, but also difficult because The Hobbit was a single story that they just cut up. Which, that kind of turns it into a part 1, 2, and 3, which again becomes, is it a sequel or is it just one long ass movie that they cut up, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And actually, geez, I mean, Lord of the Rings and Hobbit, that's a topic that's almost worthy of a podcast in itself. But I mean, I didn't really like The Hobbit because of what you just said. Like they took one book, the book that was smaller than the actual Lord of the Rings books. They took one tiny book and stretched it out to 3 movies, and I think it showed.
Oh yeah. And the thing is, the story.
I haven't seen the third one, by the way, which is apparently the best.
I think I finished it. But I just remember the big fight, and then
with the dragon. Because at the end of the second movie, he's going towards the town. Yes. That's where the second movie ends, and I was really angry.
And then there's a big fight between the orcs and the elves and the dwarves.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
That part's fine. It's okay.
But that's so and that's why I don't know if those count as sequels. But yeah, there's so many of those where they have a planned 1, 2, and 3. Like you can look at any of those. Like what's the Hunger Games books? Like all those movies. Like they're pretty well done because they knew they kind of had a beginning, finish, and end to all 3 before they started. Yeah. Whereas back to comedies, they don't. Yeah. They have one script. They make it. It was well as far as the financial logistics go, so they try to make another one out of nowhere, out of nothing.
I think even just by the basics of what a comedy is means that you can't really do sequels properly. Because if you go by the here's one story and then here's a continuation with more characters that are the same characters but in a different situation, that works for like horror or science fiction or fantasy because it's like, say, the same group of elves on a different adventure, or the fucking like Alien 1, 2, and 3. Like that's the same creature. That goes into the horror, like with Jason or Freddy Krueger, just the same monster attacking different people. That kind of lends itself easier to sequels because you don't need as much, you know?
Yeah, but I start to see those are more sequels that I'm not too fond of. Like as far when it comes to slashers and all that stuff.
I'm not fond of them either. I'm just saying it works better as sequels.
It leans to the it's going to work. It's very open to it.
To sequels as easily.
You're right. I guess the thing is they're absolutely way more available for sequels to be made, and they do. Like look at any horror movie, not any horror movie. That's way too vague and generic. But look at the Saws. Look at the Final Destinations. Look at how many Saws were there? 7 before they made a Saw 3D and then they shut her down. I think
they're making another one. Actually.
Probably even when because they love to, and that's another thing too. That's how you know it's such a kind of a marketing gimmick too, because they'll say the final Saw in the Saw series, and then they'll stop for a couple years and then make another one.
Yeah, it's like Jigsaw's dead. That means nothing.
JJ, jokes, guys, he's back, or his daughter is, or whatever. But I don't know, like those, and you know what? I actually really like the first couple of Saw movies, and after about the third one, I said, okay, guys, I'm out. I'm out.
Yeah.
They're too gross for me. The storyline's not good anymore, but I liked the storyline at first, and then after I realized this was an annualized series, then it just felt cheap. Then it just felt like they wanted my money every year, and they had nothing good to offer, and I bailed out. And I can say that about so many of those movies.
That's the big thing with me. Like, I did enjoy the Saw movies 1, 2, and 3. I consider it's like a trilogy with also here's a bunch of other deaths.
This is my water, right?
Yes. Okay. With that made me think too, is like when a series should end. Like whether you're a fan or not of Breaking Bad, when the ending came, I heard a lot of people grumbling, just like it should continue and all that. And I would have liked more, but at the same time, the way they ended the story made sense for them to stop. And then they did the sort of sequel, sort of prequel. Yeah, the prequel series, Better Call Saul, which is about one of the characters and his descent into becoming kind of a shitty lawyer, essentially.
Oh, he wasn't always like that? I haven't watched the sequel, the spin-off yet. So I've watched Breaking Bad, that's it.
And I went into it really worried, because I like Bob Odenkirk, the guy that plays him.
Yeah, great actor.
And just funny fucking comedian, too.
Oh, really? I've never seen his stuff.
More sketch comedy than, like, stand-up, but yeah. And it really works. It's a prequel that works. That's because it's related to the first one only tangentially and only by theme, because he's a person trying to do the right thing, and essentially life just gives him a shitty deal, and he starts thinking, like, why should I fucking bother? Kind of not exactly the same as Breaking Bad, where it's just he didn't want to make meth. That just is what was given to him, and it became the best thing, and he grabbed it with both hands.
In this economy, you got to take it with both hands.
Yeah.
So it's funny that you even bring up TV shows when it comes to sequels. I mean, I don't really know if that even counts, but why the hell not? Because that's essentially I'm considering a prequel a sequel, just because it's more of the storyline in an order, whether you're going forward or back in time. It doesn't really matter.
Exactly.
But, I mean. And you know what? At the end of Breaking Bad, I was never clamoring for more, because I actually really liked the ending, and I was really satisfied with whatever the 5 or 6 seasons. Was it end of 5? I think it's shut down.
5 or 6. Yeah.
Anyways, it ended, and I was like, wow, that was awesome, and I wasn't looking for more.
Oh no, I was happy. It was a good, solid. Like, yes, that makes sense.
Yeah.
This is a good end to the story.
Yeah, it was, because it was exciting from beginning till end, and I was happy with that. So when I actually heard they were making a spin-off, it wasn't really bittersweet for me. I was stoked that they were doing it, because I'm not one of those guys that says they're gonna wreck the first thing. Because
no.
That's the big thing with sequels to me, is I hate it when people when they take the sequels and they use that against the original. I'm like, it doesn't make that movie or show any less good.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that the sequels aren't shitty, but I don't know how you can take that away from the original source material, because it doesn't affect it at all.
Yeah.
You don't have to watch what's the spin-off for Breaking Bad? Better Call Saul. Yeah, you don't have to watch that.
No,
and I haven't
nothing.
because of time constraints so far. And well, not really time constraints. I'm watching different shows, but
Yeah.
but I will. I'm gonna get around to that show. It's sitting on my PVR for about a year now.
I recommended it. I have heard some people say that it's boring, but the same thing. They also said the same about Breaking Bad at the beginning. They said the same. I love Mad Men, and that is admittedly, I love that show. It is boring. Not much happens, but it's compelling at the same time, because you like the characters and you want to see what they go through and just the shit that happens to them. And that kind of made me think, because prequel, at least in Better Call Saul, it's there's a type of sequel, and this is one thing that I always wonder about, is a standalone sequel, where you have to wonder, like, are those kind of by definition better? Is it really even related? Because like a standalone sequel would be any of the Star Trek movies.
Okay.
Because they don't.
You mean the reboots?
The original and the reboot to a degree.
Because I'm not a Star Trek guy, but I have seen the reboots, or at least the first one.
Yeah.
Great movie. I knew nothing about Star Wars going into it, other than the obvious pop culture references people can make.
Yeah.
But it was awesome, and as in it was standalone.
Yeah. The things that are like those, to me, can be really, really good, but I don't know if that makes them necessarily better, simply because, like, the first Star Trek, its own story. Once it's done, it's done. Second Star Trek doesn't really have anything to do with the first one at all, other than here are the same guys on another adventure, as opposed to the Lord of the Rings stuff, or the Matrix, even too, because that's one continuous story, even though it isn't like Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit, in that they didn't really plan it out. It wasn't a story that they cut up. It was just, here's this. Oh, this did well. Let's do another one.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny, actually, because that's a whole different kind of sequel, really, or follow up.
It's like it's its own. It is its own movie. You don't need to see.
It's like the Zelda games. It's
because they have nothing to do with one another.
Yeah, but every game's got like a beginning, middle, and end, and then there's just another one coming up a few years later, and it has nothing in common with the previous one other than the world.
Yeah.
So
like there's always a Ganon. There's always a
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, and I don't know. I think with TV shows though. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's quite a few of them that do have a Better Call Saul kind of deal, though. I don't know. Even look at The Walking Dead. Like, look at The Walking Dead, and they have Fear the Walking Dead.
Have you seen that?
Yeah, and I've been watching this current season, which is season 2, and it's actually pretty brutal so far.
Yeah.
I'm still watching it. Like, I'm gonna go home tonight and watch the next episode, absolutely, and I'm excited for it. But I don't know. I'm not watching too many shows right now, so it's not hard for me to stick this one out. But I mean, quality wise, from like production to acting, it's way worse than the original. But this is an example, in my opinion, because I'm sure there's a lot of people who maybe even prefer it over the original Walking Dead TV show.
I don't see how that's possible.
I agree. but I'm sure they're out there. There's probably at least 3 of them.
Dude who's just the biggest fucking fan.
Yeah, exactly. And he's going to be the one in the comments being like, "You guys don't know what you're talking about. I think she has a lot to offer the show." Oh man, I hate that main character female. I don't know any of their names.
No, that's because they don't matter.
Yeah, it's not memorable.
No.
Yeah, and they're 8 episodes in. I should know someone's name. 6 episodes season 1. This will be the 3rd episode in season 2.
Latino dad. There's the black guy. It's just like
druggy kid, druggy
former
teenager,
druggy kid's sister.
Yeah,
because she doesn't. Thing is, it's not that she doesn't do anything. It's just she doesn't have a defining quality other than being attractive in my mind. And it's not that she's.
Well, she's flirting with the guy on the radio, so she's doing stereotypical young girl, pretty girl things. Flirts with a guy she doesn't even know who he is. And now they're probably going to get in trouble with that. I guess, I mean, this could be spoilery if you're just...
who cares? No,
yeah.
Like, see, if it was a movie or a TV show that, in my mind, mattered, Fear the Walking Dead, I watched the entire first season.
You're watching it, though.
The entire first season.
Oh, so you haven't watched?
I don't want to.
Okay, so you don't even know, man.
I fucking bailed.
I actually semi-enjoyed the first season. The first 2 episodes of season 2 are grotesquely less good than season 1. Yeah. Like, they are so bad. Like, I was the classic teenage... Like, I didn't... My eyes were glued to my cell phone during episode 1 season premiere.
Yeah.
Season 2, I wasn't doing that because I was watching at my girlfriend's parents, so I didn't want to seem rude, so I kept my eyes off my phone, but I just didn't care, man.
Yeah.
So anyways, that's a show, back to sequels. That's a show that they're just saying, hey, The Walking Dead is on top of the world right now. Everyone wants to see it.
We need more
of it. We need more money. Let's put something in the off season. Boom, spin-off, aka sequel/prequel. And it shows, man, and that's why it doesn't. And I'm not angry about it because I really like. I'm not Walking Dead Lord out yet. I'm not sick of that universe like a lot of people are. So I'm totally on board to watch more.
Yeah.
So I'm happy for it, but you can just see where the quality dips because they weren't supposed to make it.
Yeah, it's see, the thing about The Walking Dead, like the first one, is that it has at least the comic to base itself off of. It's not exact. It's an adaptation, and adaptations are almost never exact, which is kind of good.
No, that is good. It has to be, because otherwise you'd have no reason to watch it if you read the book.
Yeah, and the comic series, I absolutely love, and I can't watch the TV show anymore. It drives me insane because the characters are annoying. The stuff that they go through doesn't make sense anymore. There's one I read this, and it's in the comics as well, but in the comics there's more of a sense of time, so it feels like it makes more sense. But do you remember when Tyrese was locked in a room with like 4 zombies and all he had was a hammer, and everyone's just like, he's fucking dead, this is bad. And then like a couple seasons pass by, to this season, where there is a town filled with zombies, and everyone, even like people that have never fought a zombie before, just going out with sharpened sticks essentially and just wiping out with no casualties on the survivor's side. So they've taken the threat so far away. The zombies are still a threat, but they don't really count anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I own the graphic novels, the first 4 hardcovers.
Yeah.
Never read them at all. Like, they're on my shelf, so I need to step it up. It's a bad investment.
Yeah.
I've had them for years.
I'm disappointed in you.
I know. I want people to think I read mature books, so I have a few on my bookshelf. I don't read much,
Right beside
admittedly.
Great Gatsby.
Yeah, and other leather-bound books of assorted authors. No, so I need to get on that. I really haven't read much, but the show, the zombies aren't even a problem, really. No. And they've really kind of eliminated that completely. Like, the zombies are an obstacle in every episode to the real problem that is humans.
Just like, look at that fucking cliff.
Yeah.
God damn it. Except this cliff will bite us and eat us.
Yeah, and that's where you can see shows, the scripts, the writing, whatever. It takes a huge plunge in quality because all of the good stuff's used in the original, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think there's very few things, and again, like when we're talking Lord of the Rings 1, 2, 3, Hobbit 1, 2, 3, there's source material they're basing those sequels off of. So that's why I feel like they're not really that relevant in this topic. A sequel is like, okay, we made the one-off thing that we were planning on making, and now we're going to make more. And how they choose to make the more is how you, in my opinion, you should judge sequels. And I really should have compiled like a big list of good... Oh shit, I just knocked over our mic. There we go. I'll let you fix it. I don't know, like if you just Google, like I just on my way here, like I didn't do much prep really. My girlfriend was driving here and I figured I'd use the Google machine, but I just Google like top 10 best sequels or top 10 worst sequels and
Godfather 2 would be on that list. That's
it
always
was.
on.
Yeah, and like even looking at this, like I don't know, this is some website cheat sheet. I have no idea when this article was written, but so they're number one. And this is a list of worst sequels, by the way, worst movie sequels of all time.
Yeah,
and sitting at the number one on that list, they've got Hannibal, that's the Silence of the Lambs, right? Yeah. And number 2 on this list is Speed 2, which is a horrible movie. yeah. I actually liked the first movie.
I did too.
My boy Keanu.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Speed 2, less so.
Yeah, that's
who's the bad guy? Is it John Malkovich or Christopher Walken covering himself with leeches?
Oh God, I maybe watched 30 minutes of that on TV years ago. That's the thing, man. Watching movies on TV, if they're not well above average and they cut to commercial, I'm not coming back.
No.
Like, I'm out.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. Speed 2, there's a lot on here that I can't offer my comments to, like Staying Alive, the sequel to Saturday Night Fever, I haven't watched.
No.
Yeah. Okay, so on this list, they have The Mask, which is a great movie. I love that movie, like as far as comedies go. I watched that so much when I was a kid, but I didn't know there was a sequel until I saw this list, The Son of the Mask.
Yeah, Jamie Kennedy.
Is it brutal?
I don't want to see it.
Yeah, me neither, because I like the first one.
Jamie Kennedy, who I'm not a fan of.
I think rightfully so, number 5 on this list here, and on literally the first Google search I pulled up, is Alien 3. Because I love the first 2 movies, and I didn't love the third one.
No, that was the Prison Planet thing, right?
Yep.
Yeah, with and even the bad sequel, in that series at least, has decent moments.
Yeah.
But the thing is, that's getting a bit too diplomatic, a bit too fair. It's not a good movie.
Yeah, a lot of these on this list aren't. I mean, I'm not going to keep ripping through them because there's a lot. But but at the end of the day, like, it's not hard to just find these lists online. And I can almost right off the bat say at almost every single one that I see, oh yeah, the first one was way better. And that's why sequels are so polarized. I don't even know if they're polarizing. The reason why sequels just aren't as good is because the movies typically aren't as good.
Generally, yeah. It's super rare that it actually... there are ones where they are better, such as like Godfather 2 or things like that, but in terms of like financially as well, so many times the sequels don't do as well. I actually have the biggest box office improvement statistic here. First was Boondock Saints, which is great. The original gross that they made domestically was only $30,000, pretty much. The sequel is $25,405,000.
What? 25,000?
25 million.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No,
Jesus.
It was an increase.
I was like, when did that movie come out? In the 60s?
It was an increase of 33,714%.
Whoa,
which is pretty good.
Wow. But the first movie was critically liked and everything, wasn't it?
It became a cult classic eventually.
Okay.
That's the thing. Like, a lot of movies will come out and critics hate it, and even it doesn't do well in theaters, then it goes to, at the time, VHS, and then DVD, and now iTunes, pretty much, and Netflix. and that's where it kind of starts making its money. And that's not as common. That's why they're called classics, because it took a while for for the right people to find it and the right people to spread it. Like The Big Lebowski, that's not a sequel in any way, but
that's a forever cult classic, pretty much.
Yeah, yeah.
Like it'll always be spoken about highly. There's always the huge hardcore fans, but it never really was that big.
Yeah, yeah. Like I think it might have done fine in the box office, not terribly, but it wasn't until home video where it started really taking off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think with it's funny too with you don't see that as often in movies, but you see that on TV shows a lot where they get more popular as they go on.
Yeah.
So it's almost like the first X amount of seasons were missed by many. Like Walking Dead's one of them.
Yeah.
Like it started small small in quotations, but every year it's gradually bigger. Same thing at Game of Thrones. And these aren't sequels. It's just like something is out there. People talk about how good it is, and then that word spreads, and then people start watching Walking Dead on season 3, and then they pick up on season 4 Game of Thrones, that sort of thing.
Keep burping.
But yeah, well, that's okay. You got some heartburn, some indigestion.
A little bit. I had coffee today.
That's Pepto-Bismol, right? That's what the commercial that's for.
Plop, plop, fizz, fizz as well. That's not Pepto, but that's something that stuck with me since childhood. Couldn't tell you what it's for.
Oh, so you got the slogan down, but you don't know the product. That's not going to help you when you need to deal with that.
It is. One thing. This is another thing I found when I was doing my research on sequels. I did super vague. I wanted to also, like you, I wanted to make a list of sequels worth talking about. That was honestly,
we both wanted to. Neither of us did.
Exactly. Yeah, I did my notes this morning. I am not a good host. But
I was really banking on that I would come here and you'd had it all laid out for me,
just like a fucking whiteboard
cheat sheet. That's okay.
My cheat sheet is mostly filled.
Well, I just pulled up the first article I saw in a Google search and rattled off a list. So, anyways, what do you got for us, man?
The idea of the spiritual successor.
Ooh.
Which is, you see it a lot more in video games. At least when I think of spiritual successor, that's kind of what I think of.
Yeah, we haven't talked about video games at all in sequels.
I know. Like System Shock 2. Games that neither of which I've played.
I own one on Steam, the first one.
Have you played it?
No.
Okay.
Isn't that the story of everyone's Steam life? Oh yeah, it was 90% off, so I bought it because I didn't want to leave money on the table.
Yeah.
But I'll add that to the list of 80 games I've never played but I've bought.
I think I have 115 games on my Steam list right now.
Played 10 of them. It's depressing.
Yeah.
It's a waste of money.
The spiritual successor of that, System Shock, which is considered one of the best first-person kind of horror games, was BioShock. And
yes.
Because it's similar in a sense.
Yes.
But no, that's why it's the spiritual successor and not so many S's and not a direct sequel, you know? Because it has themes and pretty much just themes.
And colors, similar colors.
Yeah, they love red.
Underlying messages.
Yeah, like, Perfect Dark could be seen as a spiritual successor to GoldenEye.
Yeah.
Because every sequel to GoldenEye was terrible.
Oh, God, yeah. Tell me about it. So I think the thing that spiritual successors have going for them, because most of the times they're unofficially spiritual successors. A lot of times it will be something like they're not affiliated at all. Mm-hmm. Like from the people who are paying to fund these, from the producers to the directors, scriptwriters. It's not always like there's...
Every now and then some of the original developers are involved, but it's never just them.
But that's not a rule to be a spiritual successor. You can just straight up be like, yeah, I played that game a lot when I was a kid growing up, and it inspired me to make this. And that's okay sometimes. I guess the thing is sometimes I'll see it's a spiritual successor. I'll dive in and I'll think how or why, and that'll be kind of a disappointment. But I think that's a smart thing to do, though, is especially if it's legitimate, which most cases it is, because then your marketing is a scam. But because you can steal fan base. Like you already have an existing.
Very smart.
You have an existing group of people who really liked X product, be it a movie or a TV show or a video game or a book.
Yeah.
I don't read enough to talk about this in books, but sequels in books, but. So it's smart because you have all these people who loved System Shock in the 90s, because I believe that was a 90s PC game.
I think so, yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's like, hey, if you like that, come on over and check our thing out, because it's kind of like that, but newer.
Yeah.
And then you get those people plus the new people who are looking for new games or whatever. Yeah. And I think it's super smart, which is... Actually, you know what? Speaking of spiritual successors, let's pull away from video games. Cloverfield Lane. 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Did you see it?
I did.
What did you think?
I actually really liked it.
Me too, including the what the fuck ending.
Oh yeah, tell me
I was
about
just
that.
like, why is
Jesus.
this happening? Thank God it is. This is great.
I'll admit it wasn't what I expected.
Nope.
Not only because I had the name in the title from a movie that was totally different than it.
Oh yeah.
So that's why, and I knew it wasn't shaky handheld camera recording.
Yeah.
That's not what I found. What was unexpected for me was I actually thought they were gonna. Okay, this is gonna get a little spoilery, I guess, but this is kind of a new movie.
Go ahead.
Okay,
I don't
yeah.
have a lot of listeners.
Ultimately, yeah, but they could be the hardest core fans. Yeah, no. Well, we give them fair warning, and it will be like 2 minutes on this movie. But
most of them are nice. I might get one sad comment from somebody they actually know in life, so they can't be that.
Just
mean.
blame it on me,
Okay.
and edit out the part where you said "go ahead and do it." So basically, I thought they were going to get out of the bunker way sooner than the very end, and that's why it was surprising to me. But that said, such a cool movie. Like the atmosphere is great. It was very well done, well acted.
John Goodman was amazing.
Oh,
They all were good, but it's John Goodman.
Yeah, he totally made that movie. Like they couldn't have casted a better person for that role, and he played it so good. And yeah, I actually really enjoyed it. The ending was totally a what the fuck moment. I didn't understand what was going to happen, and I didn't expect that. But yeah, I mean that's where the spiritual successor term is so loosely used, because how is that remotely tied into the first movie at all?
It's hard to even I almost would say that it is not related, and I don't know why. Like, they didn't need to call it 10 Cloverfield Lane. They don't even need the word Cloverfield at all. They could have called it 10 Marsh Road.
Yeah,
and
totally
a complete standalone, and it would have been just as good. Except because of the Cloverfield thing, I think they may have done that simply because it confused people.
I don't think it's because that. I think they did it because of what we talked about earlier. They have a fan base for a movie called Cloverfield. Yeah. And there's several million people who enjoyed that movie.
There's a lot more that didn't, I'm finding out.
Sure, yeah, fair. That was totally... Any shaky hand recorded movie is going to piss a lot. I went to that movie, I think, twice in theaters, and I can't say that about many. Granted, not by choice the second time. Everyone else just wanted to go. I just had to go with them.
You just sat there, arms crossed, sighing loudly.
Fine, I'll go get an ice cream. But no, it was good, though. The thing is this movie... The only thing I think they did it for was, hey, there's a lot of people who like that movie, and if we just make this random-ass movie and throw it out there in box office, especially with, 60 days notice maybe, at most, of marketing. I heard about that movie in, February, and next thing you know, it was, out 30 to 40 days later. It was a really strangely advertised movie, and now I read an article about how that's, they're seeing if that was, testing grounds for...
Really?
To see how to advertise movies, because you never heard about that movie until early this year, and then not even 2 months later, it was out.
Kind of like Hardcore Henry, actually, that just came out.
Yeah, you're right. I haven't seen that yet, but
I want to. I hear it's fine.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a very uniquely filmed movie. It's a FPS movie. Yeah. A first-person shooter movie.
And it has Charlton Copley, who I really like. He's District 9.
Oh, I love him. Yeah, really good. That's my favorite science fiction movie of all time, by the way.
It's
District 9.
Yeah. But the thing is, Charlton Copley, nothing he does ever seems to, other than the A-Team, is ever a big movie since District 9. Everything he does is just these little quiet things. He's kind of in Hardcore Henry. No, he is in Hardcore Henry quite a bit.
But he's first person, though, so do you even see him?
No, it's not. He's not the first person.
Oh, he's not? Is he the villain?
No. He's your friend? Your friend.
Oh, okay.
Well, since you are the viewer.
I wonder if is the first person an actor or no? Or is in theory, unless he walks by a mirror, you shouldn't see who he is.
Yeah, I really think it... I don't think you ever
Plot
see
twist,
him,
it's Samus. It's a girl at the end. I don't know. I want to see that movie.
Metroid.
Yeah.
Such a good game series, and so many people were so angry when they found out that Samus was a woman.
Yeah, that's too.
Which is
why?
Who cares?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess in the 90s, female protagonists weren't really a thing. So, or 80s actually, 80s when that game legitimately came out.
Yeah, just all these angry nerds are just like, why isn't it an angry brown-haired man like in every fucking video game?
Yeah, and I guess just to bring it back to a point we were talking about a few minutes ago, spiritual successor is such a uniquely used term because you can use that very directly or very indirectly. And 10 Cloverfield Lane was the classic example of very loosely, because there's no similarities from genre of the movie to actors to even the the bad guy and by that I mean the aliens or the monsters.
Yeah.
It didn't even look the same as what I remember them looking in the original Cloverfield.
No, they did. In my mind, the only way you could even connect them is say like maybe they're from the same planet.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just or maybe like when in Cloverfield, maybe that was their initial attack, or and even then that's reaching. Like
they didn't even show. Yeah, exactly. They didn't even show a full clear cut image of the thing. It was always like hiding behind a car, or like you can never see it in
tell
full.
What it was.
Yeah, like it looked like a I can't even remember, but
makes me think sort of like a slimy bear.
Yeah,
like that's the
slimy bear. In the spiritual success for slimy bears attack USA.
Remember that giant thing that knocked the head off the Statue of Liberty? Here comes slimy bears. It's like, what?
They're back and meaner than ever.
Yeah.
No. Okay, so what are they going to do? Because they totally left that movie open for a sequel. Like, she goes driving into the battle, as far as I'm concerned.
Personally, I hope that they never do.
Yeah,
because it doesn't need it.
Exactly. I got to stop saying totally. I'm counting in my head. I'm going on 10, I think. But they definitely don't need it. But if they do, that'll be an interesting one. Because which one is the sequel like? Are they going to bring it back to Cloverfield?
Yeah.
Or is it going to be... It would have to be more like 12 Cloverfield Lane.
Yeah.
Like, it would have to be a non-shaky camera whatever.
If I feel like if they do another sort of related thing, it'd be called something like the Cloverfield Initiative or Operation Cloverfield, and it would have absolute like a military thing going.
And she couldn't be in it.
Oh no, none of the main. No, it has to be completely on its own. It's which. If they had some of the main actors, you could go. This is something that I don't know if it is a sequel or not, because the Cornetto trilogy.
I'm not too familiar, no.
Shaun of the Dead.
Yes.
Hot Fuzz.
Yes.
And World's End.
Oh, so the only one I don't know is the last one. So I'm very familiar with the trilogy, I guess.
That is Simon Pegg, Nick Frost, directed by Edgar Wright.
Right, totally.
And they call them the Cornetto trilogy because the thing connecting all three of them is at some point a Cornetto ice cream cone is there. The different flavors. Shaun of the Dead was red for blood. Hot Fuzz was blue for police, and World's End is green for alien.
So I guess I just don't know what Cornetto is. That's an ice cream?
Yeah, at 7-Eleven, you get like the cone ice cream thing.
Yeah.
That's a Cornetto.
Okay.
It's a brand. But
okay, well, I'll just call it the Napoleon trilogy then, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, it's... I don't know if you could call that sequels, because they are so... They're not... the only thing connecting them is the creative team. And then after that, there's nothing that they have to do with one another other than the ice cream. I don't know.
That can't be.
I'd call it sort of a franchise, but at the same time, not really. Because they do lump them together and call them that, like they do. And like
you'd see a box set with those three on them, probably.
Yeah, and it would probably be called the Cornetto Trilogy. And you'd be like, this is great. I don't know what a Cornetto is.
Yeah.
And then just...
or great, I just found out about this flavor of ice cream today.
This is fantastic. It's... That starts like sequel because it happens so much more, and it seems to be more and more loosely, and like with there's prequels, sequels, midquels, which don't happen very much at all.
I couldn't think of any examples.
Lion King 1.5.
Ooh, nice one.
Beauty and the Beast Enchanted Christmas.
You're on a roll.
Where it takes place like in the same timeline as a previous movie.
So you're just being modest. You did do your research, or you just have a vast knowledge of movies and just pull that out of your ass.
It's a bit of both. This time it's mostly just I did research, but I did write down Lion King 1.5. I just remembered.
Did you just go 1.5?
There's one, and then.
Oh, you wrote it out.
I did the
wow,
fraction.
Good for you.
I know.
You're so committed. You're so thorough.
I would love to be able to do this as a job, and it will never happen until I figure out.
I can't pay you for today. I'm sorry, Corey.
Well,
Chales. Do you remember Chales?
Yeah, this interview's over. What would you say, since we're getting to the end of the time, what would you say the most well-known sequel would be? This is personal opinion completely.
The most can you at least narrate, like, do you want to movies?
Book, movie, video game. I'll leave it open. You can even say, like, for book it's this, for this it's this, and yeah.
See, this is the stuff you got to tell me in advance so I can at least pretend that I came up with it on the spot and people would think I'm super, super good.
I haven't done it for anyone before. I'm not doing it for you.
No red carpet for this guy?
Yeah. You should be the last one I recorded, which will be in because it was the only time that she will be available. That Gabriella I mentioned before.
Yes.
She's also Colombian. So her grasp of English isn't great, and I started throwing questions at her that she was completely unprepared for.
To which she responded with, "¿Qué?"
mostly a scowl. just very upset.
No, I like Spanish people.
Mm-hmm.
Most well-known sequel. Oh God.
I can think of one for
Can you-
book that might help.
What do you got?
The New Testament.
Oh God, yeah, that's
It's sort of a sequel.
yeah, that's is that not a spiritual successor?
It has some of the same characters.
Oh
God,
man,
the devil.
I really can't think of anything, especially in the modern day, like
Okay,
which is
instead of-
pathetic. Which is pathetic because we've talked about so many, and I'm
Yeah.
sure one of those even could
Instead of
be my answer.
most well known, let's open it up and say one of your favorite sequels. That way, it's not like the number one, but yeah.
So I guess the big thing for me would be, and this might sound like a dumb answer because the second movie wasn't that big, but Dumb and Dumber.
Seriously.
Because that first movie was so loved and respected and still relevant
Yeah.
all these years later. So you announce a sequel to this massive
Like you're talking about the one that was released last year.
yeah, what do they call it?
Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about the one like 10 years ago in the 2000s that came out.
Like when Harry Met Lloyd.
Yeah.
Why do I
'cause that-
know this?
Yeah, because that was a horrible movie, which
Yeah.
I paid to see in theaters, by the way, because I had no concept of what money was worth back then. So yeah, but the reason why I'm going to throw this one out there, it's not the biggest by any means. I'm answering a different kind of question, I guess, but it's just one that people were so excited about because the source material was so loved for years and years and years and years, so relevant.
It was a cultural standby.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like people still talk about that movie, and then you're so stoked to get a sequel, and no surprise, it's 1/10, if that, as good as the original. And then as a result, we never talk about that sequel again. No one's going to talk about that. Everyone's still going to be talking about the first one. Hey, oh, you've never seen the original? Like,
Yeah.
you know, that's how it will be. No one will ever bug you for not seeing the movie that came out last year.
Yeah.
But if you've never seen the first one, so I don't know. I guess because the source material was so grand, for lack of a better terms, that's why I'll throw that one out there. But I don't know. One of my favorite sequels, honestly, one of my favorite sequels in the last few years, I got to give some love to the Jump Street movie, which I can't even think of the name because I don't know.
22 Jump Street.
What's the first one called?
21 Jump Street.
Oh, okay. My God.
Yeah.
Yeah. 22 Jump Street 2.
Yeah.
No, I just really liked the first one, and the second one was just right on par with quality, and I totally wasn't expecting that from a comedy.
It maintained
so as a
really
result,
weirdly.
I really, really give that movie props for that because I can't think of too many comedies that met that same bar. It wasn't better, but it was just right there.
It felt about even. I would need to watch both of them for me to figure out like pretty much one right after the other for me to actually make a decision as to which one I thought was better. My gut will always go with the first movie simply because it was new, and I went into that with the lowest of fucking expectations because like this is going to be stupid, and it was not. It was not stupid.
Yeah.
It was.
Well, and the big thing that I feel like we've hated on sequel comedies so much. The reason why what I think they have going against them so much, we talked about how they're making up new jokes that weren't good enough to make it in the first movie. I think that happens a lot of the time. But a lot of times too, they'll reference jokes from the previous movie, right?
Yeah.
And it's are you sick of those jokes yet?
And that's where they take a huge gamble.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because if you really appreciated those jokes and there's more to build on them, okay, sweet, put it on me. Maybe it's still funny.
Yeah.
But if they were that was kind of funny the first time, and they're rehashing them, then you're gonna be bored, and you're gonna think the movie was pretty shitty as a result.
I think the biggest example of that would be the Austin Powers series, which when the sequels came out, I liked them. Now the entire series, in retrospect, I absolutely fucking hate because it is the first one. Is the best, as tends to be the way. Not
I
as
forget
always.
the monikers. That's Spy Who Shagged Me, right?
Yes,
that's
Spy
the
Who
first
Shagged
one,
Me,
right?
Gold Member. But it was just constant rehashing of the same jokes. There's always the weird poop thing. There's always the like it looks like a giant cutaway to somebody else saying like cock it your cock.
Yeah,
and it's just which it was super funny at the time, but they did it for like 3-4 movies.
Well, the movies are based off of innuendo jokes, right? So how many of those can you keep putting out? But you know, that's a funny one too, because you're right. I when those sequels were coming out, when I was watching them when they were new, I thought they were hilarious in my younger days too, granted. But you know, when you go back to rewatch the sequels, it's just a few movies of a whole lot of the same. I watched one on TV a year ago, kind of in the background, and I enjoyed it. It was The Spy Who Shagged Me, though.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. I'm not really looking to fit the sequels, number 2, 3, into my movie watching list going forward. So yeah, and I guess I didn't really answer your question directly, because I just can't think of anything. But I don't know. At the end of the day, to sum it up, I don't particularly love sequels. I'm happy. I'm happy to love them. Like I'm not. I
you don't go into it being like, well, fuck you, arms crossed, like fingers raised at the screen.
Yeah, and I'm also, like I said, I'm not the guy who says that's bullshit, that's gonna wreck their first one. No, because I don't think that at all. If I like the first one enough, I'll say sure, let's go watch the second one, or let's go watch the prequel or the spiritual successor. Call it what you will. I'll totally go watch it if I like the first one enough, and I go into them with open minds, because I think the second you screw it up for yourself is when you think they're gonna be as good as the first ones.
Yeah, you had to go in with like a bar kind of low.
Yeah,
not like this is going to be shit, but just like I'm going to give this a chance.
Yeah, like Anchorman as an example.
Yeah.
I went into there knowing that it couldn't have been as good as the first one, and as a result, it kind of hit what I expected from it, so I didn't think it was a shitty movie. But a lot of people don't like that movie, because the first one is, comedy gold in a lot of people's mind, right?
Yeah.
One of the most quotable movies of all time, I think, if not the most quotable movie of all time.
Yeah.
That, and what's Sacha Baron Cohen's first one? What's
Borat?
Borat, yeah. Yes. That one was pretty quotable. But anyways, anyone who went into that thinking it was going to be better or as good as the first Anchorman was guaranteed to not be satisfied and leave unhappy. You were foolish to thinking so.
I feel like that we gotta wrap this up before, I think. Yeah, you answered a question I was going to ask anyway. Do you think there should be as many sequels as there seem to be now? I'm guessing no.
No.
Yeah, me neither. I think
they're cash grabs in most cases.
It's cash grabs. I didn't mind at Jurassic World, but I didn't think it needed to be. They're going to be making a sequel to that, and it's so dependent on the movie previous. And as we end this, thank you for doing this.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. Hopefully there'll be another topic you got coming up here soon that I can dive in on. Video games, man. Make it happen.
Sure thing. I was thinking, I just snagged somebody for letter D, which could have been Dragon Ball Z and now will not be.
What are you going with? We'll tee up your next episodes.
Documentaries. That's what. That's not for a while. I still have 3 through 10, or 9. I can't remember. I have them written down somewhere.
That's a cool topic.
Yeah. And anyways, yes, I want to apologize to the listeners that this is late. I kind of jumped on. I threw it at Paul with almost no time. And that he was not even in the province at the time, so it's just like, hey, are you ready this week? He's like, I'm in BC. It's just like, I should have said anything. But, yeah.
It was, okay, let's do it the day, basically right when you come back. And here we are.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to be here. It's just, you know what, and we are over, so you're wrapping up, and I'm cool with that, but we never got to talk about Star Wars. That's a shame that we left Star Wars out, because I don't know where those fall into all of this, but
I would say sequels still.
I think so too, because they basically said, hey, you love Star Wars, we're going to make a whole brand new trilogy, and we can go anywhere we want with this storyline, and they did, and it's been hit or miss results, because they're working on their third trilogy now.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. But yeah, no, that was fun, man. I guess, I guess I'll let you take it over from here, since you're turning off the microphone. Do you just go cold turkey? Thanks for coming out, guys. Click.
Nope.
Is there music in the background at this point?
There is.
There is music in the background. We're fading out.
Let me finish my goddamn show. I just want to say 2 things. First, I still haven't seen the new Star Wars, and that's been Geektionary.